To Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes his visit to the United Kingdom, departs for the Maldives on the second leg of his two-nation tour. India and the UK sign a landmark trade deal called the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement as their Prime Ministers endorse a new Vision 2035 document. Prime Minister Modi says there is no place for double standard on terrorism. India and British agencies to work together on extradition of economic offenders. And border tensions flare as Thailand and Cambodia exchange fire. At least 11 Thai civilians and 1 soldier killed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has concluded his visit to the United Kingdom. He has departed for Malé, the capital of the Maldives, as part of his two-nation tour. Now, these are the visuals of the Prime Minister departing the UK for the Maldives, where he will be the chief guest as the island nation's National Day. The one big takeaway from the UK visit was the signing of a landmark free trade agreement between India and the UK. Earlier in London, in a gesture emblematic of the strengthening India-UK ties and shared ecological values, King Charles III hosted Prime Minister Modi at Sandringham House. The meeting underscored their enduring commitment to global climate action and cultural collaboration. Prime Minister Modi gifted King Charles a symbolic tree sapling as part of India's growing green movement called the Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. The initiative encourages people to plant a sapling in tribute to their mother. India and the UK signed a trade deal on Thursday. Prime Minister Modi called it a historic day in India-UK relations. He said that Indian textiles, footwear, gems and jewellery, seafood and engineering goods will get better marketing access in the UK. The processed food industry will find new opportunities in the UK market too. For his part, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the trade deal is the most significant agreement that the UK has made since leaving the EU. He said the deal will bring huge benefits to both countries. DD India's Gautam Roy reports.
In a landmark moment for India-UK relations, New Delhi and London have officially signed the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA. This historic accord ushers in a new era of strategic partnership, strengthening economic ties, streamlining trade processes, and unlocking expansive investment opportunities across sectors.
यह समझौता मात्र आर्थिक साझेदारी नहीं, बल्कि साझा समृद्धि की योजना है। एक और भारतीय टेक्सटाइल, फुटवियर, जेम्स एंड ज्वेलरी, सी फूड और इंजीनियरिंग गुड्स को यूके में बेहतर मार्केट एक्सेस मिलेगा। भारत के एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस और प्रोसेस्ड फूड इंडस्ट्री के लिए यूके की मार्केट में नए अवसर बनेंगे।
Leaders from both sides hailed the agreement as a major milestone. They expressed confidence that CETA will create fresh avenues for trade and investment, drive economic growth, generate employment, and bring lasting benefits to both economies.
It's a deal that will bring huge benefits to both of our countries, boosting wages, raising living standards, and putting more money in the pockets of working people. It is good for jobs, it is good for business, cutting tariffs and making trade cheaper, quicker and easier.
The trade deal opens the doors of the UK's $37.5 billion agricultural market to Indian farmers, boosting exports of millets, jackfruit, herbs and more, while safeguarding sensitive sectors like dairy and apples. For India's MSMEs, it unlocks access to trade finance, intellectual property protections, and UK procurement channels. Indian seafood will now enter the UK's $5.4 billion marine market, duty-free, supporting 28 million livelihoods. Leather and footwear exports are expected to cross $900 million, benefiting manufacturing hubs in Kanpur and Tirupur. In a strong push for inclusivity, the deal includes gender-focused provisions, empowering women artisans and self-help groups with duty-free access and skilling support. Services too get a boost, gaining visa clarity and greater mobility. India's youth stand to benefit from new job opportunities in the UK, particularly in IT, finance and education. The two prime ministers also launched the UK-India Vision 2035, laying the roadmap for a future-ready strategic partnership. Using a cricket analogy, Prime Minister described the relationship as a high-scoring, solid partnership, a bond built on trust, shared values and mutual ambition.
For both of us, cricket is not just a game, but a passion. And also a great metaphor for our partnership. There may be a swing and a miss at times, but we always play with a straight bat. We are committed to building high-scoring, solid partnership.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called it the biggest trade deal signed by the UK since Brexit, a powerful statement of confidence in India's growing global role and economic potential.
This is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. Thank you, Prime Minister, for your leadership and for your pragmatism. And I'd like to thank everybody who's worked so hard to get this deal over the line.
Years in the making, this long-awaited pact marks a turning point in India-UK economic relations. With inputs from Gautam Roy in London, Bureau Report, DD India.
Prime Minister Modi highlighted the benefits of a double contribution convention that was agreed upon alongside the trade deal. He said the trade deal will boost employment opportunities for both countries.
इस समझौते के साथ ही डबल कंट्रीब्यूशन कन्वेंशन पर भी सहमति बनी है। इससे दोनों के सर्विस सेक्टर, विशेषकर टेक्नोलॉजी और फाइनेंस के उसको एक नई ऊर्जा मिलेगी। ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को गति मिलेगी। कॉस्ट ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस घटेगा और कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस बढ़ेगा। साथ ही यूके की अर्थव्यवस्था को भारतीय स्किल्ड टैलेंट मिलेगा। इन समझौतों से दोनों देशों में निवेश बढ़ेगा और रोजगार के नए अवसर बनेंगे। इतना ही नहीं, दो लोकतांत्रिक देशों और विश्व की दो बड़ी इकोनॉमीज के बीच हुए यह समझौते वैश्विक स्थिरता और समृद्धि को भी बल देंगे।
He said that India and the UK have continued to share views on peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and the situation in West Asia. He thanked the British Prime Minister for condemning the Pahalgam terror attack.
पहलगाम में हुए आतंकवादी हमले की कठोर निंदा के लिए हम प्रधानमंत्री स्टारमर और उनकी सरकार का आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। हम एक मत हैं कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई में दोहरे मापदंडों का कोई स्थान नहीं है। हम इस बात पर भी सहमत हैं कि एक्सट्रीमिस्ट विचारधारा वाली शक्तियों को डेमोक्रेटिक फ्रीडम का दुरुपयोग नहीं करने दिया जा सकता. Those who misuse democratic freedoms to undermine democracy itself must be held account. इकोनॉमिक ऑफेंडर्स के प्रत्यार्पण के विषय पर भी हमारी एजेंसी सहयोग और समन्वय से काम करती रहेगी.
For his part, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the UK wants to strengthen the ties with India, and hence the India-UK Vision 2035 was also endorsed alongside the trade deal.
We want to strengthen our relationship further so that it is even more ambitious, modern and focused on the long term, the step up in the relationship that we discussed in the autumn of last year. And that's why, alongside this trade deal, I am delighted that we're building on our partnership by launching our India-UK Vision 2035 strategy, pledging to work more closely on areas such as defence, migration, climate, education and health.
Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri said that India continues to raise its concerns with the UK on matters related to economic offenders and extremism. He said New Delhi expects legal issues to be addressed quickly.
On terrorism and on economic offenders, I've already mentioned that we've continued to bring our concerns to the attention of UK authorities. As far as economic offenders are concerned, we understand wherever there are legal processes to be entered or to be carried through, we expect that those legal processes will be taken to their conclusion in an expedited manner so that justice can be served.
Industry captains have lauded the trade deal, which is expected to open business opportunities in both countries.
Trade Promotion Council of India celebrates this pivotal moment of India-UK trade relations, as today both the countries have signed the long-awaited free trade agreement. Thanks to the efforts of the Department of Commerce and hard work of negotiators under the visionary leadership of our Commerce and Industries Minister Shri Piyush Goyal ji. And out and out I see that this agreement is a very, very important headshot in our exports. We are looking at doubling our exports in the next 5 years as a vision of our Honorable Industries Minister, and I think the India-UK FTA will bring a lot of value and will help augment our exports in the coming years.
The Indo-UK FTA is indeed very, very welcome, and we believe at IMA that it will foster a lot of collaboration across clean energy, advanced manufacturing and digital infrastructure, and more importantly, technical standardization. Already, for the electrical equipment sector, the trade last year stood at about 631 million pounds, right? And it's already it's registered a fairly robust growth of 38% over last year. I believe, and I'm given to understand, that this FTA will add about 25 billion pounds to the overall bilateral trade.
Vedanta's chairperson Anil Agarwal hailed the trade deal as a great achievement for India and the UK. He told DD India that the deal will boost economic activity and create more jobs.
Signing FTA is a great achievement between Britain and India. A lot of hard work has gone. I congratulate Prime Minister Starmer and our Prime Minister Modi and his team to achieve this milestone. It was not an easy job. Both countries has worked very hard. This will help both the country to increase the trade at least by $20 billion. Phenomenal job opportunity will come for both the country. India has a huge potential for back office, data center, development. UK will be the best partner for them, and this FTA will help both the country. Thank you.
The Confederation of Indian Industry welcomed the trade deal. Bharti Enterprises' founder and co-chair of the India-UK CEO Forum, Sunil Bharti Mittal, said, and I quote him here, Indian industry across all sectors welcomes the India-UK FTA with great optimism. This agreement establishes a modern, forward-looking partnership that will stimulate innovation, ease market access and foster investment. Businesses in India and as well as the UK stand to gain tremendously as it lays the groundwork for scaling up bilateral cooperation across key growth sectors, unquote. For his part, CII Director General Chandrajit Banerjee in turn said, CII has been a long-standing advocate for a comprehensive and forward-looking India-UK free trade agreement. This FTA marks a defining moment in our bilateral relationship, reflecting a shared commitment to inclusive growth, economic resilience and industrial transformation. It creates a strong foundation for deeper market access, regulatory cooperation and next-generation partnerships between Indian and UK businesses. DD India's Gautam Roy caught up with India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal to get an insight into the comprehensive economic and trade agreement.
Well, the India-UK FTA or the CETA is finally across the line after a course of 3.5 years, and we have a key person who has been involved in the process right from the start and seen to its very end. And we have with us India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal with us. First of all, many congratulations for getting this across the line.
Thank you very much. This has really been a labor of love. And I must compliment Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister Keith Starmer for their leadership, both the teams which put in hours and days and nights of hard work. It's come to fruition at a very opportune time and opens up vast opportunities for businesses on both sides.
How would you quantify the benefits? Because the UK has been very clear, 4.8 billion British pounds per annum, 0.1% of the GDP added every year, $6 billion in a spin-off as well, $6 billion of, again, pounds. So for India, what does it mean?
Well, these are estimates. But for the Indian perspective, we are a highly cost-competitive, high-quality economy. Our production of labor-intensive products and textiles and food processing, our various agricultural products, our footwear and leather products, furniture, all of these have a huge market in the United Kingdom, which is the world's 6th largest GDP. And I can clearly see that India will have a comparative advantage. Products which are labor-intensive will get huge traction in the United Kingdom because of the double convention, double contribution convention that we have approved. Now our workers, our talent which comes to UK to work for the first 3 years will not be required to pay social security which goes into the treasury, but they do not get any benefit out of it. They have to pay that in their Indian Provident Fund account, which will be their savings. So that will be a huge benefit for all those who come for temporary work in the United Kingdom. Apart from that, this will spur investments on both sides because given the certainty and stability that a free trade agreement provides, it is quite obvious that manufacturers, MSMEs, our food processing industry, textile industry, all of them can now look for long-term contracts and long-term business potential.
Mm-hmm. And does it also sufficiently, I would not say protect because that's a different connotation, but safeguard the interests of our industries and farmers, particularly youth as well and women in the rural areas?
All the sensitive items like dairy or rice and sugar, all of them where there was any concern whatsoever have been kept out of the FTA. Both sides had agreed very early on that we will respect each other's mutual sensitivities. And I'm happy to report that not a single item which could be sensitive from our farmers' perspective, from our women's perspective, from our MSME's perspective has been opened up. So it'll be a situation where India will only stand to gain with almost no sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of coming into effect, that will take some time, but it's also being said that it will double the levels of trade and take it into the zone of 120 billion US dollars by 2030. So you see that will come into fruition?
I'm quite confident that this will give a boost both for trade in goods and services. And the $120 billion target of 2030 is eminently doable. The advantage of the free trade agreement, you're right, it may take a few months by the time they get the parliamentary approval. But it provides the certainty to businesses to start looking at India as a part of their supply chains, to start developing sources in India for supporting their requirements in UK. And the UK tariff structure was such that all labor-oriented goods had high duties. And that will now go away. So that gives us the comparative advantage, something that for years Indian industry has been looking for.
And does it also account for the kind of disruptive impact AI itself is having on any sort of human productivity and how to tackle that particular aspect while ensuring that, of course, there's progress on the question of generating more business and income?
Well, the AI story is written separately. The trade agreement does not directly look at AI. But because our services will become more competitive in UK, almost 25% of the costs of employment used to go away into social security payments, which didn't benefit the employee. That saving will help Indian service providers become more competitive in UK and therefore open up newer and newer opportunities, even in the field of artificial intelligence or quantum computing.
It will also bring down costs of doing business. And you're also involved in several other negotiations with, very weighty sort of trade agreements with the US, with the EU and others. So do you think that this will send out a loud enough message to everyone who's trying to strike a deal with India that, look, we are looking very seriously to strike a very substantive deal if the other side is willing?
India is very practical and pragmatic in its approach. All trade negotiations stand on their own legs, and different negotiations are going on across the world, east to west, right?
Because somebody's talked about a 1st of August deadline.
Well, every deal, every transaction, every opportunity will be seized in the interests of India, in the interests of Indian workers, Indian labor, Indian farmers. And I can assure you that given the huge potential that a 1.4 billion young population provides, given that we are the world's fastest growing large economy today, already in the top 5 will become the 3rd largest in the next 2 years. I think all countries around the world, advanced economies, developed economies, are looking for robust, win-win trade agreements, balanced trade agreements with India.
Moving on to other news, Thailand and Cambodia fought their deadliest clash in more than a decade on Thursday, killing 12 Thai nationals. Cambodia fired rockets and Thailand responded with F-16 airstrikes and closing the border checkpoints. Malaysia, meanwhile, urged peaceful negotiations between the two nations.
The two Southeast Asian nations, Thailand and Cambodia, engaged in bloodiest military clashes in more than a decade on Thursday, with at least 12 people killed. The two sides battled with tanks, artillery and ground forces over a disputed border zone. The fighting marks a dramatic escalation in a long-running dispute over an area known as the Emerald Triangle, where the borders of both countries and Laos meet. In Thursday's clashes, Cambodia fired rockets and artillery shells into Thailand, and the Thai military scrambled F-16 jets to carry out airstrikes. Vowing to retaliate, Thai Foreign Ministry spokesperson Nikondej Balangkura said that Cambodia's attack targeted a military base and civilian areas.
On the morning of 24th July 2025, heavy artillery was fired into the Thai military base and continued throughout the morning The attacks also targeted Thai civilian areas, including a hospital, resulting in civilian casualties and fatalities. The Royal Thai government is prepared to intensify our self-defense measures if Cambodia persists in its armed aggression and violations upon Thailand's sovereignty in accordance with international law and principles.
Thai authorities also announced the closure of all border points with Cambodia. Rear Admiral Surasant Kongsiris said that Thailand escalated the security measures along the border from level 2, which only restricts the crossing borders of the people and the period of time that they can cross, to level 4, which involves the complete closure of all border checkpoints along the Thai-Cambodian border.
Since the situation has escalated, we felt obligated and compelled that the ad hoc center has to escalate the security measures along the border from level 2, which only restrict the crossing borders of the people and the time or the period of time.
Ukraine has seen the first major anti-government protests since the start of the Russia-Ukraine conflict as a move by President Volodymyr Zelensky to curb anti-corruption agencies sparked fury across the nation. Thousands took to the streets across Ukraine this week to protest against the Ukrainian government amid this scandal. Critics of the measure believe that the real purpose of the law is to give the president the power to quash ongoing investigations into alleged corruption by members of his inner circle. To sports news now, in a historic moment for Indian chess, Koneru Hampi is set to face Divya Deshmukh in the final of the FIDE Women's Chess World Cup in Georgia. The clash marks a significant milestone, with two Indian players reaching the final of one of the most prestigious global tournaments in women's chess. Hampi is a veteran and former world rapid champion, while Divya, a rising star, continues her impressive run on the global stage. The final not only highlights India's growing dominance in women's chess, but also showcases the strength of its next generation of talent. That's a wrap on this broadcast. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.